You sit at the kitchen counter one ordinary Wednesday evening, fork in hand, finishing the last of a simple pasta dinner you threw together after work. The sauce was from a jar, the noodles boiled in the time it took to change out of office clothes. The plate is empty now, the dishwasher half loaded with the usual mugs and bowls from the day. Your phone lies face up beside the salt shaker, its screen still showing the faint glow from the last notification. You pick it up without much thought, thumb through to the banking app the way you do most weeks, and glance at the balances. Checking account holding steady around $3,000. Credit card sitting at zero. Savings account inching forward by another couple hundred from the automatic transfer. It all looks fine, the kind of fine that lets you exhale and consider whether to stream something low effort or just turn in early and let the day end quietly. The numbers sit there quietly as you scroll back a screen or two, past the recent transactions that feel unremarkable. Grocery run, gas fill-up, the streaming subscription that renews without announcement. That credit card line used to carry a balance that lingered for years. It started with a car repair that could not wait, then a summer trip that felt like the only real break you were going to get that year, followed by a few larger purchases that seemed necessary at the time. Minimum payments kept it breathing month after month, but the interest layered on steadily. Over those years, the extra cost from interest alone hovered somewhere around $3,000, maybe more depending on the rate that sat near 22% for stretches. You paid it down methodically once the promotion at work came through and the tax refund helped push the final chunks away. Now the balance reads zero every month. The statement arrives clean and the app no longer shows that quiet red warning in the corner. Yet the rhythm you developed back then remains, the one that still double-checks every transfer before it leaves the main account, the one that treats the available balance as something that might vanish if you look away too long. You set the phone down and stand to rinse the plate, letting the water run a little warmer than necessary while the leftover sauce swirls down the drain. On paper, the math works out in a way that should feel sufficient. Take-home pay lands around $5,200 after taxes, health premiums, and the small retirement contribution that barely registers. Rent and utilities claim roughly $3,100 in this mid-sized city apartment that is nothing special but keeps the commute manageable. Groceries, fuel for the car, the phone and internet bills, plus the occasional takeout or dinner out, eat another $1,500 to $1,800 depending on the month. What remains should feel like room to move, like space for something beyond the baseline. Instead, it drifts into the savings account and then stops, as if the account itself has learned restraint from years of watching the other side of the ledger. The lifestyle looks stable from the outside, the same as it did when the debt was still hovering. Only now the weight has shifted somewhere less visible, into the small hesitations that happen before any decision that involves more than the usual. There is a small comfort in that pattern, one you notice only in passing as you wipe down the counter. The old debt taught your decisions to stay small and predictable without ever announcing itself as a teacher. It made maybe later the default answer to anything that might stretch the margins, even after the statement stopped arriving with any red ink at all. You no longer need the extra payment eating into the paycheck, yet you still scan restaurant menus for the mid-price option rather than the one that actually sounds good. You still hesitate before replacing the laptop that has started to lag noticeably during video calls. You still keep the thermostat 2 degrees lower than you would prefer in winter and skip the better brand of coffee beans because the cheaper ones do the job. The behavior no longer serves the old balance. It simply remains. A quiet habit that feels safer than testing whether the margins can hold something larger now. You move to the living room and settle into the couch, the remote in hand but not yet turned on. The evening stretches ahead in the same familiar shape. Part of you wonders about the weekend ahead, maybe a short drive somewhere or tickets to a show that friends mentioned, but the thought settles back down before it gains much traction. The numbers in the app are clear enough, yet the mental subtraction happens automatically, the way it learned to when every extra dollar carried the memory of interest compounding. It is not that the debt is still owed. It's that the way you moved through money for those years reshaped the priorities in ways that outlasted the final payment. The surplus exists on paper, but the instinct treats it as fragile, something to protect rather than use. Across town, or in the neighborhoods where the numbers line up differently, someone whose accounts never carried that kind of overhang looks at the same Wednesday evening and sees something different. The same pasta dinner might lead to a casual search for weekend tickets to the coast, or a browse through the new hiking boots they've been eyeing without the internal pause. Their take-home might be similar, their rent comparable, but the calendar fills with small expansions rather than careful contractions. The moment feels lighter to them, not because they earn dramatically more, but because nothing in their past taught the money to flinch first, or to measure every choice against an invisible shadow of what used to be owed. Their decisions move forward without the quiet recalibration that has become second nature elsewhere. You set the phone down once more before the screen goes dark for the night. The balance is cleared, has been for months now. The total interest paid back then is just a memory, a number that no longer appears in any statement. Yet the shape of ordinary evenings has settled into something that still carries the outline of what used to be there. Priorities reordered themselves around an absence, and the absence never quite left the room. It lingers in the small choices that feel harmless on their own, but accumulate into a life that moves more cautiously than the income alone would suggest. If these kinds of reflections stay with you, the rest of the series awaits in the description.